Okay, we're going to move on to another passage. And could I have Nandita, please, to read this time?
But it so happened that nature had given to the youngest son gifts which she had not bestowed upon his elder brothers. He had a beautiful face and a fine, strong, graceful figure. He had a bright smile and a sweet, gay voice. He was brave and generous and had the kindest heart in the world, and seemed to have the power to make everyone love him. And it was not so with his elder brothers. Neither of them was handsome, nor or very kind, or clever. When they were boys at Eton, they were not popular. When they were at college, they cared nothing for study, and wasted both time and money, and made few real friends. The old Earl, their father, was constantly disappointed and
Hello.
Hi, Deborah. I had a quick question for my daughter. This wouldn't be in its her own words. This will just be quotations, right?
Can include quotations here, yes.
Okay, thank
But
you.
you can also paraphrase.
Oh, you can paraphrase. Okay, because it doesn't say in your own words, so I was confused how to
It
do
doesn't, so you can either or. But if it says in your own words, obviously you are paraphrasing. But here you can actually, it's a fact finder. So you can include quotations. But if you are including quotations, then you need to include them using quotation marks. But that's a good question.
Thank you.
So we have got quite a few different kind of answers. Some are paraphrasing, some are quoting directly from the text about the differences. Remember, if you are quoting, you are including quotation marks. So we could use, he had a beautiful face, strong and graceful figure, bright smile, he's brave, he's generous. But as I say, some of you have paraphrased, which is absolutely fine. Remember, if it does say in your own words, you're not directly quoting from the text, you are putting it in your own words. So, for example, he had a beautiful face, he was good looking. Okay. All right, let's move on. And we have another reader, please. Let me have a look. Jay, please.
It was broad daylight when Anne awoke and sat up in bed, staring confusedly at the window through which a flood of cheery sunshine was pouring, and outside of which something white and feathery waved across glimpses of blue sky. For a moment she could not remember where she was. First came a delightful thrill as something very pleasant, then a horrible remembrance. This was Green Gables, and they didn't want her because she wasn't a boy. But it was morning, and yes, it was a cherry tree in full bloom outside of her window. With a bound, she was out of bed and across the floor. She pushed up the sash. It went up stiffly and creakily, as if it hadn't been opened for a long time, which was the case, and it stuck so tight that nothing was needed to hold it up. Anne dropped on her knees and gazed out into the June morning, her eyes glistening with delight. Oh, wasn't it beautiful? Wasn't it a lovely place? Suppose she wasn't really going to stay here. She would imagine she was. There was scope for imagination here.
Thank you very much, Jay. Okay, we're looking at the meaning of vocabulary as it is used in the context of the passage. So when it says explain the meaning of the following words, glimpses, it's how it's used in this passage. Now, if you see that this overall, for example, would be a 6-mark question, that's more likely to be. So you can work out, we've got 3 examples of vocabulary here. So each one would be worth 2 marks. So what I would recommend you do to gain the full marks, because that's quite a lot of marks, 6 marks, and it's a vocabulary question which needs a little bit of analysis and working out, but I often find they're really good ones to get full marks for. So the way you do this is you define what glimpses mean. What does it mean? And then how does it work within the context of this passage? What does it mean within this passage? What effect does it have on the text? Okay, so I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to look through all of these glimpses, remembrance, and scope, and you can type them all out in the one answer. First sentence about glimpses, remembrance, and then scope. So okay, so glimpses means something that is kind of we can ensure that we are muted, everybody. The short view of something, so glimpses of blue sky implies that Anne only saw the sky for a few moments. Remembrance is when you remember something. But in this context, this is a horrid remembrance, which suggests that Anne remembered something that was quite unpleasant. And scope means, so we've got something that that gives us freedom, possibility to use something. So in terms of here, Anne is going to be able to use her imagination in quite a useful and large way. Some very good answers there. So remember, the rule is if you've got 2 marks per vocabulary question there, what is the actual definition of the word, and then how is it used within the passage? What is the author trying to get us to imagine or to feel or to react like?